Welcome to the KTBS 3 Spirit of Christmas Station Party.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the Edwin Ray family and the Lois Rowe family, we just want to welcome you to the KTBS 3 Family Spirit of Christmas Lunch. Glad to have all of you here.
One of the great things about KTBS is it's given me the freedom to tell stories, which is a gift that God gave me. And this place gave me that opportunity to share stories all over the Arklatex for 46 years. That's an incredible thing. So what I did was take some of the stories that I've done, but also mostly the people that I have met over the years, 46 years. So let's take a little trip down memory lane.
All right, Rick. Hey, Rick, thank you this morning. It's a beautiful place. We'll have to get down there and visit it.
It is. I can't believe they pay me to do this stuff sometimes.
We can't either.
Boy, if I had a nickel for every time I've said that, I would be a rich man. Of course, I am a blessed man. Blessed to still be doing a job I love, working for a company and a family I am deeply grateful to. It all started with him, E. Newton Ray, the Ray family, in September 1955. They opened the country's newest television station. Mr. Ray was the owner. TV was barely out of diapers. Everything was live in those days. The commercials, of course, the newscast. Coming out of a tiny newsroom of 4. It wasn't much bigger than that when I arrived in the mid-1970s, and do you remember who was the lead reporter back then? Yes, 45 years ago, it was a top-notch journalist named Mary Walker, covering Ronald Reagan's first appearance in Shreveport.
I guess we'll go to Jamie because I don't know what we've got next.
Not that we have always made the right decisions. Oh, no. 60-plus years on live television, sometimes we still needed our training wheels. We've really done some crazy things over the years. I remember back in the 80s when we all went to the mall to sing. What were we thinking?
I love the smell of garbage in the morning.
And some of the places we've gone.
Get back. I hit you with a stick.
What were we thinking? Oh yes, we have made more than our share of mistakes.
Bossier Webster District Attorney Henry Brown, and I guess... No, I'm not Henry Brown. Oh, excuse me.
If nothing else, we got real good at laughing at ourselves.
News special
But oh, the stories we have told.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jerry May.
And I'm
Whenever the
Gwen
weather
Campbell. Thanks
kicked
for
up,
joining us.
we were there.
I just want you to see the intensity of the snow.
When history was made, we were there.
It was awful hard to keep a straight face and not let him see me cry.
When the Saints went to the Super Bowl,
Things are getting wild in New Orleans. Rick
and the Tigers went to the mountaintop, we went with them. When the St. Jude Dream Home blew up, we honored the man who lit the fuse.
Just doing probably 45 million this year.
Then there are those folks I will never forget. The dancing cop on Kings Highway. The Butterfly Twins in Texarkana.
Says, you know what? I passed down that field the other day and I saw 2 crazy ladies with nets running around, catching butterflies.
The Watermelon Man in Hope.
It ain't good. We just barely getting by.
And will I ever forget Johnny Zero or Sarah Hoffman?
Yes, some days you don't forget, and some people.
Too many to name, and too much talent has passed through these doors.
Mary Walker, Action 3 News.
Mary went on to a long and successful career in San Antonio. Others have Moved on to bigger cities, different occupations, occasionally a simple decision to stay home with the kids.
I just don't want to miss out on any milestones in Wyatt and Olivia's life.
It's been tough to say goodbye to Chrissy and Ed and Ed and Ed.
Actually have another job as a moving company.
And Sonia.
But yeah, it's the people. I work with the best crew possibly imaginable.
And Alexandra. And Liz.
Shot to be on too.
And Gwen.
Johnson's new restaurant called.
And Jennifer. And Sherry.
The Ray family is precious.
And I can't leave out one of the most talented cinematographers I've ever known, and one of the best humans, Paul White. And then, of course, there's Al.
Try to clear up the problem real quickly.
We lost him last year.
One piece of wisdom I would have.
But a few years back, he and I reconnected, and he left something behind for you.
Thank you for what you gave me, because you gave me a whole lot. I know I thought at that time young and brash and stupid a lot, but you gave me more than I gave you.
And of course, it will never be the same without Bob.
There are not words to express our gratitude, our thankfulness, and our love back to this community. I grew up watching that guy. In fact, I was just a kid when I walked into this place. They were taping championship wrestling in the studio my very first morning. We have come a long way. Had quite an impact on this entire region. Done some good. Changed some lives. My dad used to say, always leave a place better than you found it. That's an easy one.
We'll take a cup of kindness yet for the days of old lang syne.
Like I said at the beginning, I am a blessed man to still love what this television station has allowed me to do for 46 years. What a privilege.
I'm going to visit with the next legacy employee, this young man that we just talked with. Please stand up. Because he is retiring at the end of the year.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Paul White.
Lighting okay? The lighting
Yeah.
okay?
Well, if we could get this spotlight down on your head, it would be great.
A little too close. I'm supposed to be behind the camera, and so this is very odd for me to be in front of it. But I just feel blessed. Just Rick really summed it up. Rick and I have been here about the same amount of years, and I'm getting to retire at the end of this year, and I'm just really grateful for that and for the raise. And we've had a lot of fun and. A lot of things that were fun that other people don't know about, like the raise. But besides that, I'm just real grateful, and I'm really glad to be here. Thanks.
So you've been here about 46 years.
46 and a half.
46 and a half. Yeah. Yes, let's don't forget that part. What did you do while you were here at KTBS, and what did you do today? Because this is a beautiful setup.
I graduated from high school, and my parents informed me that I could either go to college or get a job. So I went to Gene Simpson's employment. This was in '75, and they sent me. There was a job opening here and at a drafting company, and so I chose this, and I just started I started as a shipping and receiving clerk when we used to tape out those big, heavy wrestling tapes and stuff like that. And
did you get paid immediately? Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't. I started working for free, so don't say you started at the bottom, but we've all worked our way up. Okay, now go ahead. These lights.
I'm just What were we talking about?
With the lighting. You're in charge of the lighting.
It looks good, doesn't it?
It does.
It's a little dark, but it's a little dark, but no, I'm just, you know, what do you say at a time like this? I'm grateful. I'm humbled. I feel privileged almost to be able to, you know, I grew up here, and I don't know if they did a very good job, but that remains to be seen. But I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
We've loved having you, and congratulations on retirement. We're going to miss you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Chrissy, people saw you up there too with it. You stepped away from KTBS, but how long ago was that?
About 8 years ago, 7-8 years ago. Time flies. So it's all kind of runs together, but about 7 or 8 years ago.
But I got a funny feeling you'll still go into the store and somebody says, "I saw you on TV this morning."
This morning, yes, a lot.
So, I mean, but memories here, you're seeing so many faces out here today with it. I mean, what does this bring back to you as far as memories of KTBS?
Patrick, these are some of my best friends. I grew up watching so many of them, you know, Ed Baswell, Liz Swain. I grew up, they were idols to me when I was young. So just getting to, you know, work at the place where they worked is amazing. And then some of my best friends, Sonia Bells, Ed Walsh, just to be able to make lifelong friendships at KTBS. Jan Elkins, we might not see each other for a year or so when we pick up right where we left off and give each other a big hug. So these are just the friendships that I made here. Rick Rowe, we always pick up right where we left off. Who couldn't love Rick Rowe, right? So more so the friendships were just so special.
What did you know, we were talking a little bit about this beforehand, but I mean, what taught you lessons, any life lessons or anything like that you were able to take with you once you left from here?
Yes, I feel like this place, KTBS, helped mold me into the person I am today. It helped me be the best mom I can possibly be. You know, Jan hired me, you know, way back shortly after I got out of college. So, you know, they were with me through all stages of my life from, you know, right after college, new here to KTBS, through my, you know, getting married and then having kids, and KTBS and the Ray family and everybody, they've just been with me through every stage. So that's special.
You said you grew up watching some of these people in here. Have people come up to you yet and said, "I grew up watching you"? Has that happened yet? Because I'm going to tell you that the day that happens, you're going to turn around and walk away.
Thanks a lot. That is not a compliment, huh?
I do remember, by the way, is that whenever I worked the first time with Bob, and I'd have people come up to me and they would tell me, "We grew up watching Bob with Bob and his buddies," and doing that. And I always say to myself, that day comes, and now I walk into places, and I walk into a place and to a store, and the kid's probably now 30 years old or whatever, and he said, "Yeah, I'm the kid from next door," or whatever. That was the grandchild of your neighbor. So it's coming. It's coming one day.
It's coming.
Okay, let's go and see who else we got over there. Rick, who do you have with you right now?
Well, Chrissy, you owe this guy a whole lot right here.
I do.
You are forever indebted to Ed Baswell because you were working at the drive-in somewhere in Benton, but you wanted this so bad. It was in you. You knew this is what you wanted to be, and suddenly a superstar drives up and orders a taco. And you converse and you say, "Mr. Baswell, my name is Chrissy and I want to be you someday," and that kind of thing, right? Ed, am I right about that story? And you coached her a little bit, right? Do you mind standing up, my brother? Because I want them to all see. This is one great man right here, one of my favorite people on the planet. There's nobody that has made me laugh harder. I've broken ribs laughing at this guy. He is incredible. But let's talk about coaching Chrissy. You saw a young girl that had the same heart, the same passion for this that you did.
I was working for the Bossier Sheriff's Office, and the place where she worked was where I would go to get my supper on most evenings. So I would drive through the drive-through, and there she was. And she mentioned something to me about wanting to work in television news. And I said, well, there are a few things I would suggest to you if that's what you want to do. And, you know, you got to have a burning desire in your heart to want to do it. She said, I do. And so we talked about where to go to college, all those kinds of things. And ultimately, she ended up going to ULL and ended up after that coming to Channel 3 after she'd worked down south for a while.
Let's talk about you real quick, because I love you, because this guy, you used to work at the dark side, right? You spent a few miserable years on the other side.
Oh, it was a living hell.
What did you say? I'm not sure they all heard that.
It was a living hell. It was just awful. No, I enjoyed those 2 years. I worked there 2 years. And then I came here in 1977. I worked here for 20 years until 1997. I went to work for the Bossier Sheriff's Office. I was the public information officer. Managed to work my way up to lieutenant. Still don't know how that happened. Wow. God must have had his hand on me or something.
You covered sports here.
I did.
What are there some moments, some personalities that you can share?
Oh, many people. Darrell Rabuche is here today, and Darrell was a loyal employee. He worked hard for us. We had a guy named Steve Nance who now works or did work in the Dallas area. I think he may be retired by now. But yes, sports was incredible. We have a tremendous sports market here. We are the manufacturer of quarterbacks who end up in the NFL. And so those kinds of things were a pleasure to cover.
But let's talk about the laughs and the fun. That's what I remember. My early growing up years are full of joy, and you're right in the middle of that joy. You were the joy giver, brother. I'm just telling you.
Well, we had fun with it. There's no question about that, and that is an understatement. Mr. Ray.
He was upstairs most of the time.
He was upstairs, fortunately, because we did a lot of things that got us in trouble sometimes, but we enjoyed our jobs. It was an era where we all came in, we were serious about our job, but we were going to have fun with it while we were having the job.
You got to make work fun. I mean, that's what I tell anybody. Try to make what you do as much fun as it can be. Now, not all of it's going to be going to be wonderful, but make it as much fun as you can.
Yes.
Amen.
Well, I was a boss, and being a boss is not always a fun thing. Sometimes you have to crack down, or you think you should. My wife always told me that I wasn't tough enough, and maybe I wasn't. But I wouldn't go back and change it.
That's a Jesus heart, buddy. That's what that was. Love you, brother, always. All right, speaking of fun. Oh, this guy wrote the book on fun. Oh, my goodness. In fact, has he ever been serious? I don't know if I've ever seen him. I will say this, and I think, Sonia, now you know him a little better than I do, but I don't think I've ever seen this guy angry. Really, like,
oh, you've missed it.
Oh,
you've missed it.
Okay. Buddy, that's the gift that God gave you is joy. You have the gift of joy. It's in you, and you share it. It's wonderful. Because you find a way to make what you do fun. I think you're doing it with what you're doing now, and I know you did it on that morning show.
Had a great time on the morning show. All of my memories. By the way, first of all, thanks for calling me a legacy. Otherwise saying I'm old. So, old. Sonia's older than me, though, by the way. Only by about 5 years. Not a big deal. Santa, watch your step. I have a gas log, and it has your name on it. Rick, it was fun. I loved KTBS. All of my memories of working in television come from KTBS. My second interview here, and Jan finally hiring me.
Jan let you go the first time and said you weren't ready for the big time.
Do you believe that? What a mistake on her part. What a mistake. I would go on to eventually be the #1 rated male morning anchor in the Arklatex. I was the only male morning anchor in the Arklatex. I was #1.
Stand up. Ed, stand up. Thank
Yes,
you.
there.
Stand up.
This is your chance to shine. In fact, I'm going to let you,
You
hold
went
the
and
mic.
got
You're better at
trained
holding
in
the
New
mic.
Orleans, and then I hired you.
Yes, you did. You
Yeah.
did. And I appreciate you for that.
Yeah,
One of
but you weren't ready the first time you came to me.
And I don't think I was ready the second time either. One of my favorite stories about Jan Elkins as my boss, one morning she walks into the newsroom and she's like, Ed, I just have to tell you, you are doing a bang-up job. You are doing a great job. I'm like, thanks, Jan. Yeah, Ed, you may want to tone down the blush. Yeah.
I love that. And the mascara was a little dark, wasn't it?
It was running. I was crying after a Rick Rose story, you know. But no, there were just nothing but fantastic warm memories.
The chemistry that you and Sonia had on the morning show was unique. It was special.
We were family. We still are family. We worked together for 9 years. Wow. It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I was just counting. I went through 5 meteorologists. I went through 2 co-anchors, 3 babies, not mine. I went through 12 producers, and I guess obviously I went through 2 previous Eds.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And you're the fun husband, right?
I am the fun husband. I am the one, when Sonia wants to have fun, she calls me because her husband's a bore. This isn't being broadcast, is it?
Not live.
Okay, all right. You know, I love Randy. Randy was my boss.
Family you were talking about?
Yeah.
There's one less member of that family now.
Randy was my boss. He was my boss after Jan, and I knew I did a good job every morning when Randy came in, would go to his desk, sit down, and the first thing I heard was, Walsh, get in here. What did you say this morning? I knew I did my job.
Classic Randy Bain. Great memories here at KTBS.
Wonderful.
Changed you, made you a better man, all that stuff.
Could not have asked for a better start. Mr. Ray, thank you for the opportunity. George, thank you for the opportunity. Jan, thank you for finally hiring me. Oh, God. And Sonia and Chrissy and Brian and Rod White, we had some great times here. Rick, you too. You're the only man who made me cry on live television. Twice. Stop hitting me.
But we have some family members. Melissa Couch is an example with Barksdale. If you will, please stand up. Barksdale Federal Credit Union. Being owned by one family, we develop relationships in the community that become family. You all have been a business partner of ours for years, but we think enough of you as family to invite you to the family Christmas party. Why do you always choose KTBS?
I really think it is the relationships. You know, there are other stations, I don't know if y'all know that, in town.
Okay, now let's go back to, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But actually, so thank you for that. But yeah, y'all really bring the projects to us, though, that show love of community, and that's part of what we love. I just feel like, you know, y'all have done stories on things that matter to me personally, like St. Jude's. You've done things in the community that just make us better. And I really enjoy that, and I think that everyone here in town enjoys that aspect that y'all bring to the table that maybe some of the others aren't.
Thank you so much for being your partner and a great friend.
Well, a lot of times people will say you can never go back home again. I think this is a great example of the fact that we all can come back home again because we still consider it home, and it's a great place to call home.
Absolutely, absolutely there. You know, I was listening to you earlier out there with Jan, sharing stories and all. It seems like you probably have a lot of stories, dirt, whatever it is you want to call it, on people here. Share any of those memories that you want to share with us right now that I heard you talking to Jan about earlier.
Okay, I do have one story about Ed Baswell.
Oh, boy.
Only one that I can tell. Come on, Margaret. So Ed Baswell would always get a runny nose when it was like below 75 degrees, right? Remember this, Jan Elkins? Always the runny nose, right? So Ed was also very frugal, and he didn't want to use a lot of Kleenex. So he would just jam the Kleenex up both nostrils and walk around with the Kleenex hanging out of his nose.
He's not denying it at all.
He's not at all denying. Now the great thing is that we all got used to it, and it was not a big deal. And so when somebody would walk into the station that they were going to do an interview or be live, and we're all like walking around like this, not paying attention, and they were, what the heck? They couldn't believe what they were seeing. And again, that is a story I can tell. So let's just leave it at that.
I noticed one of the things that seems to be a common theme here, listening to Rick share stories, listen to Ed share the stories here with it. By the way, Ed, it seems like a common denominator here. You went through a lot of producers, a lot of anchors, a lot of others, a lot of weather people. It might have been you. I'm just saying. So anyway, but I see a theme here there with all of this, and it comes back to a theme that is reiterated over and over. I hear George say it, I hear Jan say it and all, and it seems like to me it's all about family.
It is all about family. The people that we worked with, they became our family. I can't tell you how many times over my life people ask me if I was married to Al Pierce. Now, folks, that is one scary thought. It would stop me in my tracks, but even better, I believe that we started looking like each other. Because I was over at a Circle K near here one day, and someone asked me if I was Bob Griffin. And I said, no, wrong station. That was when he was at the other place. I didn't even bother to say what other things we might not have in common. But it is family, and I love it, and I'm glad that we can, like great families, come home again.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seems like there with it, as far as the family part with it. Anything else to finally share here that you weren't asked by Jan or myself or anything?
Nothing that would be legal. So
nothing that would be legal.
We're good.
We're working on our relationships also. Nate, by the way, right over there, my anchor in the morning, he does ask me now to go makeup shopping with him. I have not done that as of yet. You denied me, though. I did deny you a couple of times. Okay. So, thank you so much.
All right, I want to say something real quick. She would never say this about herself, but I think God gives us all gifts and talents, and He's given me some. But if you're in the news department, you want to anchor. I mean, that's kind of what everybody at some point in their career aspires to. So at some point, they gave me the opportunity to try the anchor thing. And the gift just wasn't there, okay? And it still isn't. Who knows why? But I was with her for about several months, struggling. I mean, it was rough. Nobody could have been sweeter or kinder, because that was rough on me. Because when you can't do something you really want to do, it's hard. And I'll never forget your kindness, my friend. Never forget it. She's got a big old heart. She's brilliant. She's talented. But she's got a heart. I just had to share that.
And her legacy continues, because I was brand new in the business when she came on as the main anchor, hired from Florida. Mr. Ray had been in Florida, saw her on TV, said, I want to get her in our market. She came, and she taught me how to write, how to edit things out. And one time we did this long piece. It was going to be 6 minutes, and I was so nervous that I messed up. I know that's hard for all of you to believe. And I had the scripts there, and in her sweetness, she scooted my scripts and turned them to where I could see them and bailed me out again. So my friend,
Amen.
Thank you. Great.
Amen.
You've been a great mentor to me. Rod White, what did you do with us?
I was a photographer. I was a truck operator. Let's see, I ripped scripts. I reported.
Can you come back?
No, I can't. But I like to tell a quick Liz story. When I first started working here, actually, I don't know if I was trying to become a photographer, and I think it was her last day and it was my first day. And I had the main anchor story, and we went across the street to AutoZone to shoot something. I didn't know how to shoot, but she was so nice. I had Tony Abrams with me at the time, and she was so nice. She didn't give me any lip. She treated me so fairly, but I know that story was crap. I know it was crap. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, but she treated the main. That was her last day. That was a lasting moment for me. But I wish I had more time to work.
So we gave her a rookie photographer on her last day.
All right, you started as a kid. You were just a baby. Now I think you started. You were
I
on
started
another.
on the dark side with Griffin, and I came over here when I got smart. One of my very first. I've been there about a year, just starting to learn. And I remember you came up to me. We used to play sandlot football at Princess Park, and you said, "Bub, why don't you come on over?" And I said, "I'd love to. Why doesn't
I
somebody
recruited
Yeah,
you.
did.
Oh man.
Let me say this. I was here for 4 years in the early 80s, and and one of the best things about this place is it forms you. It formed me. When we got married, my wife and I got married in 1987, there were 5 people from KTBS in the wedding party, including you, including my beautiful, sweet friend Liz over there, who was my wife's maid of honor. All right. And I want to say that the friendships I formed here, one of my closest confidants in the world is in this room. One of my oldest friends in the world is standing beside me right now. There are people who I talk to every day who I formed a relationship here with. I introduced Rick to the woman who would become his wife.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Donna. And we raised our babies together. Our babies mine was first, and then their son Bailey, and then our daughter Madeline, and then their daughter Chrissy. And we raised our babies together until we moved to the dark side of the river, I guess, and we moved across. But I just want to say, to echo what everybody else has said, a sense of friendship and lasting bonds that have impacted me and my family for decades were formed right here. My gratitude for my time here is immeasurable. Also, something you said resonated so well with me. I've never laughed harder than I've laughed in this building in the best possible way. And
Bruised ribs.
Yeah, a
Seriously.
lot of it revolves around Ed Baswell and his hijinks. Unbelievably funny. But we used to try to make Rick, when you get Rick laughing as hard as he possibly can, you can watch him, and I can't do it here, but he pounds his thigh. He does. He laughs and he goes, "Son, Bub, no."
It's painful.
And
It hurts so bad.
Hurts himself. He'll start crying and mutilating himself, and it's just very horrible, but it's wonderful. So thank you, everyone. And look, I was here for a blip on the radar screen, but I just want to say, compared to you and Ed and Sonia and Baz and the others, but I just want to reiterate, I am honored and I am grateful to be included in this conversation today, and because, I'll say it again, lasting, enduring, permanent impact in the most positive way to me and my family. So thanks, everybody. Yeah.
Amen. That's beautiful.
I've gotten to know Susan from many years ago, and obviously, like a lot of you, I got to know her walking into her car dealership there. I think it was back in probably 2003 or 4. It might have been somewhere in that time frame. Wife wanted a new car, went up there, never met Susan in my life. And, she stayed up there till 9:30 that night. That's when I worked, I guess we'll go and say, on the dark side. That actually could be 2 different places there with it, 2 to qualify for it. But, Susan, you are here today, and the thing of it is that you've been a part of also your family and a part of the KTBS family now for years upon years. What does all that mean to you and the Moffitt family?
Well, it means that KTBS has helped grow our business, and from just buying airtime to the production of it, we have developed that into. We've done many community projects together, which has touched my heart in ways that y'all will never know. And then to meet almost everyone in this room that you just know when you say hello, if you see them in the grocery store, to become friends. I love so many people at KTBS, the KTBS and the Ray family, and they're just like an extended part of our family. For what you do for us, and I know people that I could call in the middle of the night and say, "I need you," and they'd be there. And that's about the KTBS family. I know that you personally, I called you and I said, "Can you videotape my dad's 80th birthday?" Do you remember that?
Exactly right there with it. And I remember that, and that was another opportunity for me. And that, again, was years and years ago.
And you videotaped my daughter's 3rd birthday.
I remember that too. I must have really needed to do something. Yeah, that's probably the last time, any time in the past years ago, somebody called me to do something. And they say, yes, I got a 5-year-old. I go, no, I'm good. I don't ever need to come back again.
But I did pay you.
She did pay me. And that was probably, that was 3rd birthday. And how old is she now?
She's 18.
Okay,
15 years ago.
15 years ago they're with it.
I'll help you with the math.
Thanks, appreciate that. Both of us need help sometimes probably with it. So, but what's one of the memories that you have, or one of the, community projects? Because I know you're really big into St. Jude. Is that the one that you really cherish more than anything else?
Our whole family cherishes that, because you meet all these kids and these families that have something that hopefully you'll never have. But the length that KTBS goes to share their stories and to grow the donations to St. Jude they work. I mean, they get up in the wee hours of the morning to the late hours of the night, and that is probably the best community project partnership that we could ever have, and it has really touched me in ways that like it's touched everybody in this room.
Absolutely, and I'm sure many of them who've been here over the years, the ones that are no longer here with us, that came back today, had an opportunity to work with you on some of those various things as well. So as always, we appreciate Susan and obviously being a part of the KTBS family there. Jan?
Sonia, if you will, stand up, please, because you're the only one that has 2 husbands here today.
I think I might be the only one who can say she landed a husband at KTBS.
Yes. Please share that story.
Yes. Well, it starts with Ed Baswell. There's a common thread here today. And Rick, I started here at 19 years old too. And like Jan, though, I worked for free. I was an intern. And Randy was a videographer, and oh, he was so cute.
Wait a minute, he's still so cute.
He's still so cute.
You're welcome, Randy, you're welcome.
And
you worked in Monroe?
Not yet, I was at Louisiana Tech still.
Okay, so Rustin, he didn't have to go quite as far to date you, I got you.
But he wouldn't pay me any attention.
Silly boy.
We would work together, I thought we got along, we clicked and everything, and nothing. And so I went back to Louisiana Tech, and the second year I came back to work for free, thinking maybe this time, second time would be the charm. We worked all summer together. Finally, we did the Night Shift Story, a series. Ed Baswell was in on this the whole time. He knew I had this crazy crush on Randy, and I had a horrible car that was just about to, fall apart. And I was working late that night, rolling the prompter, and he told Randy, he said, "You need to follow her home."
Ed.
You go, man.
Ed. Woo. Do you remember that? Don't make it up. Don't make it up. Okay, I'm sorry. We're following you home.
And he followed me home, and I'll just say the rest is history. 30 years later, here we are.
Bless your heart, and way to go, Randy. A little slow, but hey.
I always told him he was a slow learner.
He was. Yes, but he came along very nicely. KTBS family, we go to all of each other's weddings. At their wedding, Randy stands up there looking so good, and he cries when Sonia comes down the aisle, which made all of us cry. So it's been great to watch their relationship. But I will say, I put the Ed and Sonia team together. So tell me a little bit about Ed, that you can, the things you can talk about.
There's so much I cannot, yes. I'll keep it, I promise, I'll keep it above board. He is known as my fun husband. He's correct about that. Ed and I actually go back to our previous station at KNOE in Monroe at 1994, and he was coming from Maine, and I was trying to come back here, but we had a great 1 year before I think I came over here, and as soon as the position opened for co-anchor, I was like, send your tape, send your tape. We sent tapes back then. I don't know what you send anymore.
And you came into my office and said, Jan, Ed would be great, Ed would be great, Ed would be great. I kept hearing it in nightmares, in dreams. But you all were a great team.
We had so much fun, and like we were reminiscing a little bit earlier, it was never like work. I mean, when you get to come to work and work with your best friend every morning and have coffee together and share what, has happened since you saw each other the day before, so much happens one day. We just had a great time. We always liked to laugh. We would go to a lot of events together. And so he would come pick me up and he would play with Jackson and tell Randy I'll have her home by midnight.
So tell me some of your favorite Christmas memories at KTBS.
3-minute smile. Absolutely love the 3-minute smile. And if you don't think 3 minutes can be a good cardio workout, whew, I think that one time Ed was laid out on the floor afterward.
I believe that.
And I also think that's when the rules changed a little bit.
Yes, they did. And now we'll yes, they did. Margaret, please stand. But you have sponsored the 3-minute smile for several years, and you were with us on a few times when these folks went and picked up the toys for the child, and now we don't do that anymore.
There were a few rule infractions, and of course we all smiled and we said it's for the children, and then of course George said, we're going to cover it, don't worry, we'll split the bill with you, because it got really bad, and one of those persons is no longer here. We won't say who, but anyway, it has been, I feel like I am part of the family, but I want to echo what my community projects colleagues have said. Y'all make it so easy to do the community projects and the advertising, of course, too. And I guess the two big ones that I feel like we're associated with is 3-minute smile, which is so much fun, and of course the fireworks, which came from the dark side over to the light side, which was a wonderful thing. That was great. So you make it easy, you make us look good, and you make us want to do more for the community. And I always tease this guy right here, did you bring the skinny camera today? And he always tells me he does, but I never look any.
He lies a lot.
He lies. Well, he's in the, never mind.
No. Cricket, cut that part out.
No. But I'm truly honored to be here with all y'all, and I do feel like family. And it's just it's easy to partner with other businesses that are locally owned. And I say that all the time. Why do you do so much with KTBS? I said, well, they get it. They're locally owned, they can react quickly, and it's easy.
Well, we appreciate the partnership from all three of you, and the partnerships and business relationships. You do a lot in the community, not just with us, but we certainly appreciate, you are family.
A lot of the young people that work here don't realize I actually worked here, for almost 15 years. Started back in '97. Leanne hired me in sales for LifeWise Cable. And Don Weigel was walking through, and he had a script, and he goes, and Rick Graft, I think Rick Graft out, and his brother Bobby was filling in, but they couldn't get in touch with Bobby. And I asked Don, I said, what's the matter? He says, well, I need somebody to cut this. And I had been doing audio for 20 years. And I ended up bringing, and Don says, give me a demo, and a cassette tape that Don gave to George.
It's
and
a museum artifact.
So I was able to move into the absolute best production departments back in 97. Oral Link had already retired. Ron Toma was the production director. Gary Newell, Gary back there, on one of the, he was, incredible cutter, editor. I was honored to be a part of that. So let me share this. Years ago, y'all remember David Page? Yes, David Page.
Works in Atlanta now.
David Page.
Retired.
Okay, retired. One morning, Rick Rowe, this is, again, years ago.
Don't tell them.
Rick.
You didn't tell me you were going to tell them.
I know. Rick comes walking into the newsroom, and this is in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, with this orange watermelon flavored, And David Page looks at him and said, Rick, what you got there, buddy? Rick goes, oh, these are awesome. They're so good. I just discovered these a week or so ago. Holds it up, and it's a Bartles and James.
Okay,
David
David
looks at me, poor Rick, turned as white as that tablecloth. And Rick.
But he's red today.
It was so sweet.
That was pre-Jesus now. That was pre-Jesus.
Oh, you didn't know.
Hey, Jesus turned the water to wine. Can I get an amen?
And you talk about Edwin being upstairs all the time, probably because right after the movie Norma Ray came out, David Page was playing a joke, and he was standing on a desk in the newsroom with a sign saying "Union." And Edwin walked into the newsroom right at that time. I think he just turned around and went right back upstairs.
Yeah. And pretty soon after that, David was no longer with us. So thank you for not being a union shop. Thank you, Edwin and Suzanne, family-owned business. Lois and Kirby is not here today, but we thank the Rowe family as well. Our station manager, George Servin, kind of has dreams in the middle of the night, and it turns into nightmares for all of us, as in here we all are.
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Mr. Servin, would you like to say anything as we pass out? Yeah. So, Santa, do you want to just say ho, 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 Merry Christmas as we all...
Yes.
Thank you all for coming. Let me tell you how important this has been to the Rowe family. We have several employees who work remotely from out of town, and they flew them in today to be part of it. If you all will wave, please. That's some of our sales staff and some of our traffic. And all of the current employees, just raise your hand because the legacies would love to meet you as well. No, raise your hand. Nothing's going to happen. Current employees. Current, as in you work here now, Valerie. Hey, thanks for watching. We've had a blast. We know it was all about our family. We wish your family a very merry, Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. But we thank you for letting us into your family living room every single day and night. God bless everybody. Santa?
On behalf of the Rays, George Servin, ho, 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 Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Oh, we were hilarious, especially to ourselves. We could always break each other up because you have to take it seriously, obviously. There's a lot of really serious things, bad things, tragic things happening, but you can't let that be your life. And we knew that in a big way. We were the biggest pranksters behind the scenes. During newscasts, Ed Baswell, Al Pierce, Ed Durenson would be running around. I'm not certain they were always wearing pants. In fact, I'm pretty sure they weren't.
I'm still rolling.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay, so favorite Christmas memory at KTBS?
Well, that is a tough one. I do remember that because I had no family here, I always volunteered to work for Christmas. And so it would be me and a very small staff because no one ever wanted to work on Christmas, obviously. They wanted to be with their families. I would be producing and anchoring the show. And so as to not do a whole lot of work that day, I would try to find really long stories. And I remember Bill McNeely, who was editing the tape at that time. I found this 13-minute story about just the most tragic, horrible thing going on somewhere in the continent of Africa. And I said, this is something we all need to know about. And I recall after the newscast, Bill McNeely literally staggering out of the editing booth saying, can I just kill myself now? I hope nobody watched this program because my gosh, you have just taken the joy of Christmas and made everyone so depressed that they're now just going to have to go sit in a closet. And I do recall that probably was not the correct thing to do, but I do think that I ended that program with at least a 30-second happy story. So I'm sure after that 17 minutes of depression, that 30-second happy story just brought people right on back up.
Do you have a favorite KTBS memory? That would be hard.
Oh, Jan, I have so many wonderful memories of working here at KTBS, and all of my memories involved people, every single one of them. Not only the people I worked with, but the people I did stories on. To this day, and I haven't been at KTBS for more than 20 years, and I know that's amazing because look at us.
Yeah, we're so
17 years old, right? I don't know how that worked. But I do know that Edwin Ray, he stole us out of that orphanage when we were 3, you know, stuck that microphone right in front of us, and we just started babbling, and, you know, people listened remarkably. But I still run into people today who say, gosh, I remember that story you did on me. I can't, you know, it made such a difference. Thank you so much. My father always loved you. And it's a thing with me. Their grandparents always loved me, right? Well, it's because I talk loud.
Yeah.
Older people love me because I talk really loud.
And a deeper voice so they can hear.
And enunciate, yeah. Yeah, I don't do the shrill voice. Never done the shrill voice.
Okay, tell me this. How did KTBS help prepare you to go into government, to go into the executive director for the Downtown Development Authority? I mean, you're kind of a big deal.
Well, yes, I am, and thank you for knowing that. And you can say that again if you'd like.
You are a big deal.
Thank you, Jan. There's a reason that you taught me how to hug you, and that's it right there.
That's it.
So, it was a wonderful job in teaching you about people and relationships. And sister, that's what matters, and you know that's what matters. I know now that when I talk to people, it's a relationship. It's not just a conversation. It also, when you're in the news business, you are watching the sausage being made at government. You know only one side of the story, but it prepared me to see the other side, how things really get done, the decisions, why they're made, how they're made, and who's making them. And it gave me a broader view of our government, of our city, of the way things are done. And I will always appreciate the time that I had here, the travel that I got to do, the places I got to see, the people I got to meet, and my KTBS family, who were so important to me for so many years. And I'm happy that so many of them are still around. These newbies, I don't even know their names. You rock.
Thank you, baby. Tell me when you worked here.
It was early 80s, 81 to 85.
And what did you do while you were here?
I was a sports anchor and reporter and shot a lot of sports too.
And you shot for me sometimes.
Well, yeah, we did do some news photography. That's true. Early in the day, I'd kind of forgotten about that. I started off being kind of a utility player, and then ultimately specialized in sports. Yeah, but I was a sports anchor on weekends for about 4 years.
So you now work at Willis Knighton.
I do.
How do you think KTBS kind of helped propel you into your next phase, into your next career?
You know, all the skills that I learned and got better at while I'm here, I still use every day because of my role there at the health system, where I do photos and video. It's my primary role in the marketing department. And so the things I learned here, the people who taught me how to shoot better, how to light better, how to edit better, still use those skills every single day.
Speaking of those people, some of them you have great memories of. Any you want to share?
Well, not only do I have great memories, I have great established relationships with. I will say that people I met here, there were 5 people who worked here with me who were attendants in my wedding. And there are people who I'm still friends with who I talk to every day. One of those people remains one of my closest confidants. And so forming and maintaining, establishing friendships here has had a profound impact on my life and frankly on my family.
So weekend sports means you probably had to work Christmas Day.
Well, I was the last man in the sports department when I came. And so, yes, I worked, I think every holiday, pretty much for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. I didn't mind though, you know, I was young and single. And it was great. You know, it was better than sitting around the apartment doing nothing.
And you got double time.
No, I didn't get double time. You just made that up. Nobody gave me double time.
Baz, wrong man. So,
I don't remember that. If that's true, thank you for the double time.
A lot of things that we talk about, and I mentioned with Liz, people think we're so serious because we're always serious. Now in sports, you've got to be a little funnier, but we were some funny people.
Yeah, I remember randomly Christmas. I was here, it must have been 82. One of the most fun things I remember was some of the young women at the time in the newsroom got together and made some promos, and I just thought it was hilarious. They put on some sunglasses, some fun clothes, and said, "Have a cool Yule, y'all." And I don't know why, but that stuck with me. I just thought that was the funniest thing, and I probably shouldn't use this word with professional women, but I thought it was so cute. And I loved it, and like I said, I'll always remember it.
Anything you want to talk about Liz and Baz since they're here listening?
Well, I will say that Liz Swain, my beautiful, beautiful, very special
Just stay
friend,
looking at her.
has been, Liz Swain has been for decades one of my closest friends and closest confidants.
Was she in your wedding?
She was in my wedding. In fact, she was the maid of honor. Yeah, so I love her like a sister. She's just the greatest, and coming into a relationship with her when we were in our young 20s was really something that was meaningful and remains meaningful to me. That's what and Ed Baswell, since you mentioned him specifically, he's here.
He was probably your boss.
He was my boss. He was the sports director. One of the funniest human beings you'll ever run across. People we worked with just delighted in being entertained by Baz. You mentioned that people were serious, but I guess you have to be serious on the air when you're a news person. But in the newsroom, it was a constant string of hilarity at all times. I'm telling you, as I look back on it, it's been a long time. It's shocking to think it's been almost 40 years. But some of the most painful in the best way belly laughs I ever had were in the newsroom in this building. I mean, so much fun, so much hilarity, and again, lasting friendships formed. One of the best things about friendships, old friends, is you have this shared experience. And you can recall things that you laughed about 30 or 40 years ago and still laugh just as hard as you did then. In fact, it's a different kind of laughter now because it's a laughter of love, it's a laughter of familiarity, it's a laughter of just knowing that you're secure in your friendship for a really long time, and that is a gift that you can never discount.
Tell me your favorite KTBS memory.
Well, KTBS has afforded me many, many friendships over the years. And I'm going to go down the list of just a few people that I've had experiences with who are my friends, who are my family. Now you got to understand, we don't all see one another that much during the year, but we pick right up where we left off when we get together. It's like me today, seeing you, hugging you, wonderful to see you. It's Jan.
You too.
It's my buddy Jan.
Yeah, old time.
Yes, exactly.
Old time.
But I'll just kind of go down the list here. Let's start with Liz Swain, okay? Liz Swain. Love me some Liz Swain. Liz was a superb anchor here. Perhaps one of the best anchors this market has ever seen. And what's funny about Liz was sort of the boss on the set. She called the shots. And Al Pierce and I better get in line or we knew what was good for us. So that's one of the experiences of having Liz taking care of things, and we didn't worry about it. Oh, by the way, Durenson too needed to behave, and he didn't sometimes.
That was impossible.
Impossible, exactly. Ed Durenson. Ed Durenson, one of the top meteorologists ever to work in this market. And I would say this about Ed. He took his weather very seriously. He loves weather. And one time, when there was a spate of tornadoes coming through here, he actually on the air said, the Baswells need to take cover. There's a tornado headed your way.
Oh.
So that told me that he loved me and my family, told me that he loved weather, told me that he knew it was dangerous, and he didn't want us to get caught in the storm. Now, another one, Rick Rowe. Rick Rowe is family. Rick and I love one another. In Christ, we love one another. And so what I would say about Rick is that he is the Charles Kuralt of the Arklatex. He's a tremendous storyteller. And that's what he is. He tells stories, and he tells them very well, and then he adds the editing that he does, and it's superb. He's an award winner.
Does he stay on time?
No. When he worked in the sports department, I would say to him, let's go about a minute and a half on this story. And of course he would come to me and say, Bub, hey Bub, I think I went a little bit over. Oh, so it's 2.5 minutes. No, he doesn't stay on time. That's just Rick Rowe. That's just how he is. Now, here's the thing about Rick. If he doesn't know your name, in order not to embarrass you, he might call you Bub. He might say, "Oh, my main man." So be careful with Rick. He'll pull that one on you if you're not careful. But those are the kinds of things that I remember about the people that I've worked with and love them dearly. Al Pierce, the late great Al Pierce, gone too soon. Loved him, loved working with him. Great sense of humor, raspy laugh.
Yes.
You know, I miss it to this day. But we all enjoyed working with Al.
You worked with Gwen Campbell,
I did.
another legacy, who's pretty special.
That's correct. That's correct. Gwen, I remember Gwen in radio. A lot of people don't remember that she worked in radio before she ever came to television. But again, a good anchor. You know, she knew what she was doing, knew how to handle herself on camera. So it's been a pleasure over the years to know Gwen.
So what about, do you have a favorite Christmas memory?
Christmas memories, I just remember that we were all close when it came to Christmas. You know, I'm still waiting for a gift from somebody. I don't know what the problem is there. I've tried to be as nice as I could be to the people that I work with, but
no gifts.
No gifts so far.
No gifts.
I'm sure this will be the year.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Awesome job, buddy.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Yay, me! Yay! Okay, great.
Thanks for watching the KTBS 3 Spirit of Christmas Station Party. We hope you have a safe and Merry Christmas.